Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Crown and today we are going to have some more stories that I hope that you will enjoy. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now, without further ado, let's go! I used to be a bouncer at a very busy nightclub. I was the only female because they needed someone that could legally keep an eye on the ladies' room. At the time, I was 5'5", 130 pounds, and I could probably hold my own in any military physical drill if I wanted. Not bragging, I'm a fat old lady now, and I'm jealous of my past self. Some really big musclehead guy came in with a giggling drunk bimbo and they tried to go into a bathroom stall. Not just any stall, the only handicapped stall. I got in front of him and stopped him from entering. He asked me what I thought I could do about it. He had not yet processed the fact that I worked there. I was not just some girl upset that he was in a ladies' room. I said it didn't matter what I do. I just hit my whistle and my boss George would arrive in a couple of seconds flat. He finally understood that I was staff, and he scoffed. Now, because we were so busy, we had multiple bouncers. Nobody was supposed to handle a customer on their own, so we all had whistles. The big guy starts having an attitude and starts standing so close he's almost touching me, yelling at me, trying to intimidate me. I blew my whistle. I didn't know that my security manager had actually noticed the man come in and was already on his way. And at that point, he raised his hand to hit me. That was all I needed. I grew up on a farm and knew how to manhandle angry animals. Edit to add this word, some, that were 5 times my size or more, including dogs, hogs, horses, goats, and so on. I knew it was all about finding a weak spot and controlling their center of gravity. I ducked, went for a low center of balance, and basically did a lovely WWE spear, taking him back about 5 feet into the wall. I then took a step back and did what I had learned to do on the farm. I looked him hard in the eyes and growled. Don't judge. It works on farm dogs and I just did it without thinking. He stayed flat against the wall, and he then looked towards the exit, maybe hoping to escape. There stood my manager, leaning on the door frame and smiling. This poor man looked so defeated, knowing all the girls in the bathroom, including the one he was trying to score. And the security manager had just witnessed him get manhandled by a tiny girl. He just looked at my boss and asked, "So you're George?" George nodded without a word and gestured towards the door. The man lifted the club on his own, without raising another moment to fuss. Yeah, never miss with the small bouncers. There is a reason they were hired. This was about 2 years ago while I was living at my buddy's place. His place wasn't in the best part of town, so theft happens all the time. And for the large part, most of these crimes are met with a sucks to be you attitude from the police, who then create a report and forget anything happened entirely. Okay, so I woke up early on Thursday morning with a call from my roommate who was running to work at 5 a.m. and he explained the detached garage has been broken into. The thief broke in through the window and stole a bunch of stuff, with highlights being Milwaukee drills, motorcycle jackets, and a receiver, and the receiver and the sub from one of those surround sound system in a box packages deals, but leaves the speakers around the rest of the place. Saying I was livid is an understatement. I work hard for my things and have no intention of replacing them, so some jerk can sell them for a very small profit. So for roughly the next 4 days, my focus is entirely on this, and you'll see why shortly. So I know the chances are slim that I will ever find my stuff. But hey, it can't hurt to look on it on the common online sales places. I used eBay searching local sellers only, and I put alert on Craigslist, an extremely handy feature. And I told my roommate to keep an eye on Craigslist since he has a little time. So fast forward to Friday, my roommate calls me up and tells me he thinks he found our stuff on Craigslist. I pull up the ad and sure as heck, there it is. This beautiful not too bright gentleman had taken all the stuff he took from us and put it into a single ad in a barter section of Craigslist. He even added the model numbers, not serial numbers, making things very easy to identify. The giveaway was this cheap surround sound system for which he only had the receiver and the sub, and after a quick search reveals this particular system is only sold as a package. You cannot buy the single components. So this was definitely our stuff. I call the police thinking case closed, but guess what? They don't care that I found this stuff on Craigslist, and after about 20 minutes of complaining on the phone with non-emergency, they ask me what I want them to do. I say send the car over here, I want to speak with someone directly. So they reluctantly send the car with a very nice officer. She was nice. I'm sarcastic, but she was really nice. Who runs a number associated with a Craigslist, and guess what? He's got a rap sheet a mile long and has been arrested like 10 times for theft. With a break in the case, I think I'm home free. But nope, the cop can't do anything. The investigator needs to take care of this, she says and leaves. So I call the investigator who doesn't work on Fridays. I ask who I can speak with, so they send me up to the investigator's team line, to which no one answers at all. I try again on Saturday and learn that investigators do not work weekends at all, and I'd have to wait until Monday before I can talk to my investigator. Good thing crime doesn't happen on weekends, otherwise cops' weekends would be in trouble. So I call on Monday and the sergeant is out sick. It was at this point I was done trying to call them. I drove to the police station and demanded to speak with an investigator. I mentioned to this new investigator the situation and the name of the guy who was in the Craigslist ads, and the cop knows him very well and has arrested him on a couple of occasions. The cop is confident the police can now help me since I've already done all the dang work here. Finally, the cops tell me to make a meeting with this guy and let him know when and where. So again, the work is on me. And to meet this guy. Thanks, police. So I text him a few times with no response. Then I call him and joke around and express interest in a variety of items, most of which are mine but a few that aren't. Since simply asking for the things from one of the victims is suspicious in my mind. So I tell him I'm doing some shopping. I then say I'm from out of the area and ask him to pick the location, and he lists off a few places, one of which is a grocery store within eyesight of the police station, so I pick that and laugh to myself at how this is turning out. I call the cops to let them know the deal is on, when and where it is. They say they will be in an unmarked car and that I should take my wallet out as a sign to swoop in to make the arrest. So I pulled into the parking lot. I see no cops and I stop and wait. I think the guy is a no-show when he finally shows up 10 minutes late. My heart is pounding at this point. I get out, meet the mastermind criminal, and shake his hand. He proceeds to pull out my stereo, then my drills and a few other odds and ends. And before I can get my wallet out, a gold Taurus speeds in and out pop 3 cops with guns drawn and cuffing the guy. When this happened, I just turned around and walked away for a second while they put him in the car. The lead cop asks me if this is my stuff and I say yes. It matches with the previously provided very detailed description I gave the police. All the while the guy in cuffs is yelling, "That's my stuff." Finally, the cops get the warrant for his apartment and find the rest of all of our stuff and a few other people's things. And I have all my stuff back by Wednesday the following week. He received 1.5 years in a state penitentiary for his efforts. I kinda fixate sometimes. And he got unlucky by stealing from someone who didn't just claim renter's insurance. Advice: record the serial numbers on everything you own. Cell phone, computer, TV, router, stereo, etc. If you can give that to the police, you have a stronger chance to get your stuff back. Pawn shops need to report all serial numbers that come through. I used to install cable and internet for the local cable company. The company has the same name as a college football team in Ohio, with red as their school color. This is my last job for the day and it's only a modem swap. I swap out their outdated modem for a new one, copy and paste their Wi-Fi name and password onto the new one, and that's it. The house is massive and in a really nice neighborhood. Get to the door, ring the bell, and the customer's son is there. Dude looks young, so I asked to see some ID to make sure he's 18 or older. Company policy, 90% of the time I don't ask if the customer looks old enough. The son gets argumentative right away and starts telling me how he's in college. He's actually 21 and he even has his CCW. And I tell him the policy and that he just looks young and I'm only covering myself. This isn't good enough apparently, and he says hold on and calls his mom, who is the actual account holder, and on her way home. I see where he gets his attitude from when he puts his mom on speakerphone and she tells me how she knows the owner of the company. She's only 5 minutes away, and that I'll be sorry if I leave before she gets there. She tells me she made that appointment and made sure someone will be there, and that I should just do my job if I like having one. I just say okay, I'll just get started. I head into the basement and notice that their existing modem also has a phone. Their work order on the other hand says to replace it with an internet-only modem. So most people that have a landline for a phone only do so for their home security system. And when I remove the phone modem and put in a non-phone modem, you no longer have a security system. By the time mom gets home, I'm all finished and the son is already connected to the Wi-Fi. I apologize, have her sign the work order, and quickly drive off. Maybe 10 minutes later, dispatch calls me and tells me how the customer has a security system and that they were supposed to get a phone modem, and would I go back. Apparently, the customer security system was blaring and wouldn't shut off. I explained the situation and how the work order didn't say anything about a phone modem. She understands and says she will have another tech head over there when someone is free. I gave the tech a heads up and he didn't get over there until late evening. Never heard anything else about it, and technically I never did anything wrong there. Next time, be nicer to your techs. I worked in maintenance for a religious organization that owned a large number of aged care facilities. Even though they were supposedly not for profit, they went all out to scam the government for as much money as they could. For example, I once saw a claim for wandering behavior in a bedridden resident so they could claim he had dementia, put him in a locked ward and get extra money. I became aware that they were paying less than the minimum wage for many of the non-nursing staff. A high percentage of housekeeping were from overseas and they thought they could get away with it. In my country, you can claim back wages for 6 years, and it so happens I was just about to reach that mark, and I was thoroughly sick of their hypocrisy. I scheduled a meeting with the care manager and human resources. In a meeting, I requested to be paid the correct wage. After they realized I was not going to back down, they agreed to pay me correctly and would back pay me, but only if I didn't tell the other employees. I declined and it ended up costing them over $700,000 to back pay everyone. I was recording the conversation and took them to Fair Work. It's an independent workplace ombudsman. They made everyone with the same job description as me redundant because they couldn't think of a way to legally fire me, and then outsourced maintenance, which ended up costing them much more. I took a nice holiday with a redundancy pay and informed on them to the government aged care regulator for the fraud, with documented proof of course. They were inspected with a fine-tooth comb, and 2 of their flagship homes were put under 6 months constant government supervision. Always remember that wage theft is the largest crime wave in history. It's ongoing and no one ever goes to jail for it. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.